Hi. Hi everyone, today I'll be presenting my project focusing on Nativity Miguel Coalition. So they consist of 50 plus schools serving underdeserved students, and they track this development of students academically, financially, and their post-NMC outcomes. So for instance, what jobs they might have. So the schools are collecting data on their student outcomes, demographics, and financial performance. However, data is spread across surveys, spreadsheets, and manual reports. This can lead to data silos, inconsistent formats, and it makes it difficult to quickly access insights or compare schools. This matters because data-driven systems have been shown to improve student outcomes. So they can improve the grades by 5%, and it helps identify at-risk students earlier and reduce the dropout rates by 10 to 15%. And they also support faster, more informed decision rates. So this essentially enables a system where we can have faster evidence-based decisions that can be used to inform school advisors. We can also cross-school comparisons to see how schools are performing financially or academically, and we can also use it to target targeted interventions. So for instance, one school might need more resources than the other, personalized support, and improved accountability for schools that might have a lower net income or students that aren't graduating. So I use a human-centered design approach to design this app, starting with emphasizing. So I observed the current workflows and saw that the data is scattered and reporting is manual. I also engage with NMC leadership who emphasize issues with accessibility and the need for cross-school comparisons. Then I immersed myself in the data systems and found major challenges in consistency, integration, and efficiency. Secondly, from our HCD defined, from our research and conversations with NMC, a few clear needs started to stand out. First off, staff need a centralized way to access data because it's spread across multiple spreadsheets and systems, which makes it difficult to quickly find what they need. We also saw a strong need for standardized data across schools without consistent formats because it can becomes challenging to trust the data and make meaningful comparisons. Finally, the staff needs an easier way to compare performance across schools. From these needs, we had recovered some key insights that when the data is fragmented and consistent, users spend more time searching for information than actually using it to make decisions. So overall, the problem isn't just accessing the data, it's the ability to turn that data into clear, actionable insights. So essentially, the fragmented and inconsistent data prevents NMC staff from quickly turning information into actionable insights. So in order to address this, I built a structured data workflow. But first, we needed to prototype the initial design. The initial design included drawing from a sketchboard where we kind of looked at the budget, filters for the budget, school number, profit. These essentially were mock designs that concluded with teammates to kind of help envision this app. And from that, I was able to pull out an expected dashboard that includes a map of all the Nativity Miguel schools, an ability to filter by school, and then it's going to have its high school completion rate as a KPI, and then tables on the bottom for cross-school comparisons. Next, for our prototyping, we had to take data from 4 different sources: our Question Pro, internal NMC Google spreadsheets, Excel files, and the NMC code. Our first data source is our Question Pro. This is where NMC obtains all of their postgraduate outcomes. So for instance, their total enrollment for the 25 to 26 academic year, capacity. So after the Question Pro is filled out by the schools, our next data source, these go into Excel and Google Sheets. So for instance, we have a ton of data on what school, the year, the revenue, expenses. So this is where all of our data is coming from. Finally, to ensure that all the data is standardized, we need the codebook. So to ensure that when the app is going to be updated and created, all of the code is consistent across all the different tables. So that way we can compare the insights that are derived from the Excel sheets. So when I first, for HCD testing, we had kind of a matrix come up. So this was discussing with fellow classmates. So it's kind of the pros. It was kind of view that it was nice to see the outcomes, financial and demographics, and it's going to allow for school comparisons, and the interactive map is helpful for geographic insights. So it really helps give us more information at the school level, and it's nice that it focuses on postgraduate outcomes. However, on the prototype, it was mostly noted that navigation needs to be clearer, especially for the outcomes of postgraduate. So, and then a lot of the charts lack context. So, what did the data mean? What was showing up? And the financials kind of needed more normalization. And it was also limited in the side by side school comparison. So, essentially, we needed more information on the dashboard itself rather than having the user essentially guess or create their own decisions based upon what they're seeing. Next, some of the questions my other colleagues or teammates wanted to address was what are students doing after graduation? So their jobs, colleges, and maybe how do these outcomes vary by their region? So for instance, maybe Midwest or East Coast. And they were also interested in what schools have the highest spending or budgets. So, and then it's really just identifying what schools need the most support and where are postgraduate outcomes located in the dashboard. So most of these questions involve visibility of postgraduate outcomes and the regions that they follow. So some possible design ideas were implemented that maybe we can create heat maps for the low performing schools that quickly identify which ones might need targeted intervention, and perhaps create a sortable ranking depending on their outcomes, financials, and performance. And then maybe we can filter by the outcome type. So for college employment, possibly introduce priority score for at-risk schools, maybe improve filtering the UX or the drop down over sidebars and make insights more actionable. So for instance, including recommended next steps. So when discussing, my focus statements centered on improving clarity, making the data easier to access, interpret, and compare. Meanwhile, the player statements often induced action and impact. So they are encouraging the staff to actually use insights to drive decisions and improvements. Yeah, so before we go into the app, I want to address some alternate approaches. So I did consider more advanced options like a fully automated data pipeline, and including predictive analytics, such as how students might perform based on what region they are in or how their academic performance is. But however, I wanted to make this app more easy to use and more clear to interpret. And this is going to allow us to make this immediately actionable. So I wanted to prioritize something simple, clear, and then immediately actionable to deliver value quickly.